So, I went on another long road trip, and this happened, and a whole lot more. Welcome! I'm John of John Health and Fitness. No miracles, real life. Real life often involves road trips, visits, vacations, and the like. I made one last one to Boston this past weekend. And the key to surviving it, as it often is I looked ahead. I knew what I was going to be doing on this trip. It's really important you don't kind of make believe you're going to be good for the first time, ever. Realize you're going to indulge a little bit. I knew I was going to end up in the north end of Boston at an Italian restaurant. I wasn't coming out of that unscathed. I was also going to a ball game the day after that. That was going to be a complete disaster, and I knew that as well. I wasn't going to have just a salad at the Italian restaurant. I knew that. I wasn't going to limit myself to one beer at the ballpark and maybe a small bag of popcorn. That just wasn't going to happen. And then there was the wall of cookies. I did not see that one coming. We came across it in the hotel lobby as we were leaving to join the rest of our family at the Italian restaurant. It was a wall of cookies. Who does that? Believe it or not, I passed it up. That was a tough one. Because, it was a wall of cookies. I did want to make sure that this wasn't going to be a complete disaster. Because then you just feel badly. So what I did was, knowing that was coming up, knowing I was going to be doing those things, I took some actions beforehand. We actually left our house a Thursday night, breaking the trip up into a couple legs, stopping off at my sister-in-law's. That evening, I had several handfuls of peanuts for dinner, and some pretzel twists. Basically a third of a cup of peanuts total. That was my dinner and some pretzel twists. We got there fairly late. I went to sleep. Finishing the drive up the next morning into the afternoon, I had several handfuls of peanuts for lunch. Now, I wasn't starving myself. You have to be careful about that because that doesn't do yourself any good either. I brought along my normal bag of protein bars and the like, and I was having some of those as well. But I was being careful not to have any big meals and any of those indulgences I often do on a road trip because I'm bored or I'm tired or you're stopping at places like McDonald's. But for that matter, just a rest stop where there's plenty to eat that's no good for you. Now, once we got there Friday, sure enough, I went to an Italian restaurant and I had chicken parmesan. Haven't had that in a long time. Haven't actually finished an entire plate of chicken parmesan with pasta in I don't know how long, but I finished that plate. I was hungry, I was enjoying it, I wasn't going to take it back to the hotel. And I had anticipated it, so I kind of made room in my diet to a certain extent with an allowance for some overindulgence. Speaking of which, I also had a martini. They had something called the hot and dirty, which was jalapenos, a little bit of olive juice, which I like in my martini anyway, and blue cheese stuffed olives. I substituted gin for the vodka because, gin. In terms of calories, that probably beat having 2 beers, so I probably came out okay on that one. And of course, the next day at the ball game, I had a hot dog, I had a bunch of beers, I ate an entire large bag of popcorn by myself, and a package of Cracker Jacks. I have Cracker Jacks once a year, and that's when I go to Boston, see the Red Sox play, I eat a bag of Cracker Jacks. It's about 375 calories total, and about 1,000 calories with the other bag of popcorn. I should point out, prior to the game, I also made some compensations. Basically, between that Italian dinner Friday night and the ball game Saturday night, I had to make some allowance for these pockets of real indulgence. And so I worked out Saturday morning, did a weightlifting session. I like to do that on Saturday mornings anyway. It was nice this hotel had access to an actual fitness club. So I had a nice set of equipment there. And by equipment, I mean dumbbells. I like dumbbells. I ate lightly most of that day. My breakfast was essentially a protein shake after I worked out. My lunch was a small wrap that I had at the Boston Science Museum. Now again, I was trying not to starve myself. That's not particularly helpful. But I definitely pulled back. I was not going to indulge during the day, given what I knew was coming up that evening. On the long drive back, took a similar strategy, given what I had just done. We were careful with our stops. Had some more peanuts as a kind of lunch substitute. Some coffee along the way. basically kept it all under control. So what I had was essentially this 36-hour period where I knew I'd be essentially misbehaving, or for that matter, enjoying myself. But I made some allowances so I wouldn't come out of this weekend a complete disaster and feeling terrible about myself. I ended up gaining 1 pound. Really not bad under the circumstances. So there you have it. That's it for a while for me, I hope. If you still have some trips coming up, think ahead. Be honest with yourself with what you think you're going to do or going to want to do. Right? Don't make yourself miserable, denying yourself little pleasures, time with your friends. That's important too. But you can work around the edges and limit the damage you do to yourself and not beat yourself up over having a little fun every now and then. Just jump right back on, right back in, just like you do your work week. Thanks for watching. I am John of John Health and Fitness. Check out the website, johnhealthandfitness.com. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Oh, and check out my social media links down in the description. If you follow me on Facebook, you would have already known all about my peanut dinner and lunches. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Avoided it. And I had some more peanuts. On the long trip back, I was equally careful given what I had just done. So we didn't stop anywhere where I'd be picking up cheeseburgers or anything like that. Pest control people.